How are we, lads? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name is Nick from Australia. I am a rugby league content creator. I support the North Queensland Cowboys. If you are new around here, do not forget to like the stream and subscribe to the channel. This is one of the biggest videos of the entire year where we officially reveal our NRL ladder predictions and whatever other predictions that you want us to predict. That's what all of us content creators do this time of year. Before the NRL season kicks off, we get our predictions out of the way. Now, if you tuned into the channel a couple of weeks ago, I think it might have been a month ago now, I did my predictions already about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And since we have seen the preseason challenge and we've seen a few injuries from a few teams, and I'm just not comfortable with my ladder prediction. So we're going to finalize it tonight. This is going to be my official ladder prediction. No more changes. This is the official ladder for 2025 that I'm predicting. Now, the other thing I want to mention as well is if I don't have your team in the top 8, it is not personal. It's just an opinion. I'm giving you my view on each team and who I think will go good and who I think won't go good and who I think will be in between. So not a personal attack if I don't have your team going well. I have a couple of teams that I dislike going good this year, and I hope it doesn't happen, but I'm predicting it to happen. So let's just see how the season goes. It's all predictions. We'll probably get 85% of these wrong anyway. So we'll have to wait and see how it goes. It's great predictions. We all love doing them. So before I give you my ladder, I want to say hello to the live chat. I appreciate all of you guys in the live chat. Hello to Faraz, SS Storm fan, Gene, Josh, Lockie, Jason Reader. Hello to Bunker, Michael Driver in the live chat. Hello, Michael. G'day to CJ Moxley, one of the moderators. Hello, CJ. I hope you're well, my friend. William Pearson, Liam Pritchard, Cooper, Jason, everyone that's here. I hope you are all doing well. Like the stream, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. Sports Music is God. Hello as well. Let's get underway with the ladder predictions. So, we're going to start with the wooden spoon. And my mind has not changed on this one. Going to go with the Newcastle Knights. I think the Newcastle Knights will come last in season 2025. I know their trial form was pretty decent. I know they put a score on the Roosters, but I don't really take anything from trials too much. I think the Knights' problem is they change their halves too much. I think there's a lot of players in that team that tend to always have an injury, which is always a concern. Like you look at Kalen Pong and Bradman Best. If they play 18, 19 games out of the 24, Newcastle probably avoid the wooden spoon. But every year, Ponga, Best, there's always an injury between those two. The halves are always changing with the Newcastle Knights. O'Brien doesn't, he just doesn't seem to stick with the combination. So, Newcastle, for me, I think they're going to struggle this season. I just don't see them having a good season. I think they're going to be right down the bottom, and the pressure will be on. And with all due respect to Newcastle, I think they were very lucky to make the finals last year. So I don't see them going a whole lot better this year. 16th is the Gold Coast Titans. Now, I think the Titans are one of those teams where they could be between 16 and 11. They could definitely go up the ladder a little bit, but my concern is a bit like the Knights. It's the halves. I don't think Brimson and Jaden Campbell is going to work as a halves combination. Foran's out for 3 months already, which is a big blow. We know how important Foran is for the Titans, but him being out for 3 months is going to be a blow. So we might see Jaden Campbell and Brimson in the halves for 3 weeks, and then they could change it and go with that Carter Gordon fella who's very unproven. There's a lot of question marks on the Gold Coast. I got that Tom Weaver fella as well. So I've got a lot of question marks on the spine. The Titans don't have a problem with the forward pack. They got a really good pack up there on the Gold Coast. They got some exciting outside backs, the likes of Keanu Kinney, Khan Pereira, Philip Sami, very good player as well, Jojo Fafita. But if you don't have your spine settled and you don't really have a plan for it, it's hard to see teams doing well with a spine that's really unsettled. So Titans for me, they'll be second last. On the 15th now, and I'm going to go with the West Tigers in this one now. I know they've bought Jerome Luai and Royce Hunt, Terrell May, Taruva. And look, the West Tigers could easily be around that, 10 to 11 position on the ladder. I don't think they're a finals team right now. I think they're on the up. I think they're improving. I think they might be a finals team next season if they can get more recruitment. I don't really rate the signing of Jack Bird. Jack Bird's been unfit, fit, injured, not injured for the last couple of years. You can't get a read on Jack Bird. And I think with the forward pack as well, I have some concerns about who the leader of the forward pack is. Because you look at every other NRL team in the competition, a lot of them have a leader in the forward pack. And when I look at the West Tigers, outside of David Clemmer, who's been shopped around by the Tigers to potentially go elsewhere, the Tigers don't really have a leader in the forward pack. Yes, Terrell May will probably carry the Tigers, and he'll probably do everything, average 150 meters, do everything. But Terrell May is not a leader. He's just a player where I see him as a second-tier prop. I don't see him as like a Joseph Tarpany or a Payne Haas or a all these sort of players, like a Fanua Blake type player. I don't see Terrell May as that type of player. But look, on paper, their spine's as good as anyone's. They've got some good players there. I don't think they'll be a terrible bottom four team, but I just still feel like they need to avoid the wooden spoon before they become a great team. If they can finish third or fourth last, then improve. That's how I see the Tigers going. I don't see them skyrocketing from 17th to 10th and then just being an automatic top 8 contender. So 15th for the Tigers. 14th is the unpredictable Warriors. Now the Warriors, how can you predict the Warriors? Like, you genuinely don't know what you're going to get with the Warriors. I like the Warriors. I think they're a fantastic franchise. I think they're a great club. They do a lot of great things. The Up the Wars movement, we know how global that has gotten over the last 2 years. But you look at the Warriors team. They've lost Sean Johnson. They've lost Tohu Harris. They've lost Fanua Blake. But they get Fisher Harris. Now, Fisher Harris is a great player. Don't get me wrong. Some would argue he's better than Fanua Blake, but that's up to you and how you want to rate certain players. But I look at the Warriors team. I see problems in the halves. They got a couple of guys there that I don't know if they can take them to that next level. It feels like Fisher Harris and Barnett are going to be, the Warriors are going to be really relying on those two to carry the load for the Warriors. Metcalf, Martin, Harris, Tavita. I think they're all solid players, but there's no superstar there. Like, who's the guy that's going to get them a lot of close wins? I don't know who that is. I don't know if Metcalf's that guy. I don't know about Tamari Martin, Harris Tavita. Tanner Boyd went there as a backup, I think. So, look, the Warriors, they're very hard to predict. They could be higher than this, and I could be wrong about them, but I don't see finals in the Warriors this year. I think they're going to need to go to the marketing, try and work out this roster, because I don't think they're a finals team at the moment. Now, 13th. This team was top 4 last year, and I think they fall off because of what they've lost. And I'm going to go with the Roosters. I'm going to go with the Sydney Roosters in 13th. Look, I think looking at the Roosters squad, they have lost a lot of quality, man. I mean, I don't even need to go through the list, but you look at Manu, Suoli'i, Jared Rea Hargraves, Tupanui, Kiri's gone. Walker and Cheese are gone for the first half of the year. By then, it could be way too late to catch up. I think the Roosters can win enough games to avoid the bottom four, but I really see them struggling this season. Chad Townsend is a very good, experienced player, but his best days are behind him. Sendon Smith, I don't know how he's going to go. Not the biggest fan of Sendon Smith. I don't think he's that good of a player at this stage in his career. Maybe he'll improve this year. Who knows? But I look at the Roosters. I see a lot of aging players. I see a lot of guys past their prime. I see a lot of young guys that are really unproven. And look, I just don't know how they're going to go. Now, history says that Trent Robinson will have this team probably between 5th and 10th, most likely. But I think they're going to fall. They've lost so much. They haven't gained a lot of quality. I think if you lose Luke Keary and you replace him with Chad Townsend, I think that's not a like for like. I don't think it is. So, Roosters, for me, I think they're in for a really tough season. They could go better than expected, but I just don't think they're in for a good year. They've lost too much quality for me to be a good side. All right, on the 12 is the Roosters' arch nemesis, the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Now, if you go back to 3 or 4 weeks ago when I did my predictions, I had South Sydney in my top 8. I think I had them like 6th or 7th. But look at what's happened since. Cam Murray out for the year, which is a huge loss. I can't comprehend how big of a loss it really is. I think Souths are in for maybe not like a dreadful season. Like they might be around the 8 for a while, but the losses with the injury toll just is so big. Like Cody Walker's already injured, and we haven't even played in round 1 yet. Cam Murray's gone for the year. Campbell Graham's already got a few injuries as well. Who else is injured? There's a few guys that are carrying injuries, and I think it's bad signs if you're carrying a lot of injuries before a ball is even kicked. Like, we didn't even see Cody Walker in the preseason challenge. We didn't even see, like we saw, Latrell was going to play against the Dragons in the Charity Shield, but he injured his hamstring, so he'd be out for a few weeks as well. So it's worrying signs with Cody and Latrell and obviously Murray out for the year. It's concerning. And look, I understand they may get everyone back by round 7, round 8, besides Cam Murray, but it's hard to see South Sydney making the 8 when their best players are already injured and we haven't even had round 1 yet. So I think the master stroke of Wayne Bennett and the magic of Wayne will get the Rabbitohs away from the bottom 4, and I think that they could be around 8 still, but I just have concerns, and I don't know if they have enough depth to be a top 8 side. So South, for me, they'll come 12th. On to 11th. I'm going with the Dragons. I'm going with the St. George Illawarra Dragons. The Dragons, for me, I think they'll be a bit like last year. I think they will be a little bit like last year. We know last year they come like, 9th, 10th, 11th? Then they come 11th last year. I think they'll be around the same as they were last year. My concern is the halves, Flanagan and Ilias. I do not rate it. How many games can those two win together as a combination? I'm not 100% sure. I'm not that confident with those two in a tight game if they need to kick a 40-20 or, they need to score a try to win the game. I don't know if those two are the guys that are going to get them there. But, I look at the Dragons and I see a lot of experience that they've bought, like Val Holmes, good signing. Clint Gufferson, really good signing. Emre Gula just went there recently as well. Damien Cook. I think the Dragons will win games on the back of their recruitment. Like I think Val, Gufferson, Cook, Gula. I think those players can influence. It can bring a good culture to the team, and I think the Dragons can win a few games on the back of those guys performing well. But I think I still have question marks on their halves. Their bench is a little bit weak still. They got a hell of a backline, I will say. I think the backline's really good on paper. So I think they'll just miss out on the top 8, but I think they're going to have a pretty good year, the Dragons. I think they'll be around. They'll be similar to last year, the Dragons. I think they'll be very similar. 10th, Raiders. I had the Raiders in my top 8. I was very high on them, but I must admit, the last couple of weeks, I've had to change my mind a little bit on the Raiders. And the reason I've changed my mind on the Raiders is because they're now the youngest team in the NRL. Statistically, the Raiders are the youngest team in the NRL. Now, that could be a good thing or a bad thing. Now, I was talking about Canberra as a potential top 4 side like a month ago, but when you look at the Raiders, I think because they're so young, they might be another 12 months away from being that team that I think that they can be. I think they will be around the same as last year, around 10th, 9th. They could make the 8. I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't know, man. The Raiders, if they lose Fogarty, they could be in trouble. Ethan Sanders, good talent, but lots to prove still. I really do rate the Raiders, guys. Like, I really do. I think they're on the up for sure. Like, I think they're one of those teams where they'll be a top 4 team in 2 years from now, the Raiders. They've got a great, great team. But because of the inexperience that they still have, and because I think the loss of Jordan Rapana and Elliott Whitehead are going to be bigger than what people think, they might just miss out on the finals, the Raiders. But they're definitely on the up, the Raiders. Definitely on the up. Now, 9th. This is where it gets controversial, I think. And we're going to go Manly. Manly in 9th. I think Manly missed the 8. I think they do. I don't trust Manly. I don't think they're a top 8 team. I think last year they done very well. They made the second week of the finals and then they got smashed by the Roosters. A lot of people think that they're going to have a big season. A lot of people think they could be top 4, top 6. I don't see it. I think Manly's forward pack is nowhere near strong enough. I don't think their forward pack's even that good. I think Jazz Tavaga is a very hit-and-miss signing. They bought C.Y. Takiyaho. I think he's past his prime. I heard Anthony Seibold say today that apparently Takiyaho may start round 1, which is a little bit interesting for me. Jake Trbojevic, I think he's past his best as well. Obviously, you got Cherry Evans there and Tommy Turbo, Ola Kawatu. They got some good young players as well, and Lehigh Hopewade and whatnot. But I look at Manly and I don't see them backing up what they did last year, because you look at Manly every year, it's finals, miss finals, finals, miss finals. I can't see this team as a genuine threat. I don't see them as a great team. And if I'm being honest with you guys, and this may not go well, this may not sound good, but in my opinion, and just my opinion alone, I think Manly are very overrated. I think their team is very overrated. I don't think they're as good as people think they are. I think they're going to be missing the top 8, and I think they're a pretty overrated squad. I don't think they're as good as everyone thinks. They should have been competing for premierships the last couple of years. They should have been contenders going all the way back to 2021. But every year it's up, down, up, down, up, down. So Manly, for me, they'll come 9th. I believe they're overrated. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Now, 8th. You people won't see this coming, but this is my opinion. A lot of people are picking this team for the spoon and bottom 4. I disagree. Dolphins. Dolphins will make the 8. I'm telling you. I am keen on the Dolphins. I like this team a lot. I like the signing of Cooley Finifuiaki. I like the development of Isaiah Katoa. I love Max Plaff. They get Tom Gilbert back. potentially Flagler during the year. I guess we'll have to wait and see how that goes. I am keen on the Dolphins, and I know everyone thinks they're going to fall because Wayne's gone. Listen, put some respect on Christian Wolf's name. He won 3 premierships in a row with St. Helens. He won a couple of grand finals over there at St. Helens. He came over to the NRL. He got 2 years of Wayne Bennett coaching. Not that he needed it because he was already proven as a good coach. Now he's had the Wayne Bennett experience. He's already won a few premierships in the Super League with St. Helens, which was a great dynasty, as a lot of us have seen. I know it's the Super League and I know it's different to the NRL, but Christian Wolf is a terrific coach. You've seen what he's done with Tonga as well. I am keen on the Dolphins. I think they've got some great players. Herbie Farnworth, arguably one of the best centers in the game. Bot Stock, Rookie of the Year. The Hammer, arguably a top 5 fullback in some people's mind and some people's eyes. Isaiah Katoa is a hell of a halfback. Max Plaff is going to play Origin in the near future. Vinny Fuiaki might do the exact same thing. And yes, I know they have a lot of old heads there, but that's what you need. You need old heads. You need experience. Guys like Felice Kafusi, Kenny Bromwich, Mark Nichols. Experience is required in an NRL season. And I think these guys, the Dolphins, along with their young players, I think they're ready to go to the next level. So the Dolphins, they're in my top 8. They're going to come 8th. They're going to make the finals. In 7th, we're going with the Parramatta Eels. We're going with the Eels. I was not keen on Parramatta. I was not. All off season, I was completely off Parramatta. I really was. But I really like the look of them. I think Mitchell Moses is going to have a big season. They've got some fantastic young rookies in the fullback position. Obviously, Isaiah Longy and that Joshua Papali'i fella. Now, I know it's risky to back those guys, but I think Parramatta are just looking to the future. Jason Ryles coming in, brand new coach, brand new voice, bit like Christian Wolf. Jason Ryles has done his apprenticeship at the Storm and the Roosters. He's done his apprenticeship there. He's now an NRL head coach. I think he's ready to go to that next level. So, look, I think Parramatta, and I bought well, Lomax, Adokar. They've got a lot of speed and they've got a lot of attack in them. Defensively, that will be a question mark, how they go in defense. But if Junior Paulo, Jermaine Hopgood, Ryan Madison, all these guys step up and do what they're meant to do. I also like the addition of Jack Williams. I think he'll be a really good buy for the Eels. He might come off the bench as that impact player, along with Joe Offering-Gowie, or whichever way they go. I do worry about the hooker position as well, but I think Parramatta have got a team here where they can score points, and I think they're in for a good year, Parramatta. I think they'll make the 8. I think they will. 6, Bulldogs. We're going with the Bulldogs here. Look, Bulldogs are an interesting one for me. I was off the Bulldogs as well. Wasn't too keen on them, but I feel like they're better than a lot of the other teams. I really do. I think the Bulldogs team is better than a lot of the teams I have between 11 and 6. I think they're just a little bit better. I think the experience of the finals last season is going to be good for them. My only concern is the second-year syndrome. That happens to a lot of teams where they exceed 1 year and then they fall the next. So the second-year syndrome thing is my only real concern with the Dogs. But look, I think they'll go all right this year, the Bulldogs. I think they'll make the 8. I don't think the Bulldogs are a premiership contender. I really don't. I don't think they can win the comp. I think they'll make the 8, though. I think they'll do enough to make the top 8. So, yeah, Bulldogs, they'll come 6, but I don't think they're going to be winning the premiership or anything like that. In 5th, I got my boys, the Cowboys. I think I got us in 5th. Now, we come 5th last year. Yes, we lost a little bit, but I think we'll come 5th again. I really do. I think when you talk about the players that we've lost, like Chad Townsend, Kyle Felt, Finney Filiaki, all these guys, Jake Granville, you talk about, they've lost so much experience, but a lot of those guys were not even in the leadership group. I mean, last year we had Tom Dearden and Ruben Cotter appointed as captain. We've got a different leadership group. It's different to last year. I think we've moved on from the old guys. Now we've got some of the best young kids in the competition. Jackson Purdue, let me tell you something about Jackson Purdue. He is going to set the year. He's going to set the season on fire, man. Purdue's in for a massive year. I'm a big fan of his. I think some of the role players like Thomas McKaylee, Harrison Edwards, Cohen Hess returning as well. I think they're in for a good season. Defensively, last year the Cowboys were very, very frustrating. I think you could say. If we fix that part of our game up, I think we'll be right. But when you got the best 5'8" in the game in Tom Dearden, when you got one of the best ball-playing fullbacks in Scott Drinkwater, you got the origin hooker in Reece Robson, you've got some of the best forwards in the game in like Ruben Cotter and some of the best back rowers in Jeremiah Nanai and an origin winger as well and Murray Tulangi. There's enough quality there to make the top 8. And look, I think top 4 is definitely a possibility, and I'm not going to rule out top 4, but I'm going to say 5th for now. I think 8th at worst for us, but I think we'll finish 5th. I think we'll make the top 8. I think we'll have a good season. In 4th, I'm going to go with the reigning premiers. I'm going to go with Penrith. I mean, they got to fall a few spots eventually, right? They've lost Jerome Luai. They've lost James Fisher-Harris. They've lost Taruva. They've lost some big-name players. But the guys coming in, are they going to be able to do just as good of a job? Can Isaiah Papali'i do a good enough job? Is Casey McLean going to be good enough to replace Taruva? The one good thing about Penrith is they've got a lot of backup in the halves. Like you got Jack Cole, you got Brad Schneider, Blaze Talangi, Dane Laurie. Like they've got some guys there who can fill a job. Like I can fill a role. They can come in and do a job. I guess the real question is if Nathan Cleary misses 6 weeks, how many games did the Panthers win? Because when Cleary was out, Jerome Luai really took the leadership role. So Penrith are an interesting team for me. Are they going to be as dominant as last year? I don't think so. I think they will lose more games than last year. I think they will lose a couple of games here and there as well. Like during the origin period, they might struggle as well. So I think they're still a top 4 team and they're still a premiership contender, but they might fall a few spots in 2025. Might fall a few spots. We got the Sharks in 3rd. Cronulla in 3rd, man. Look at Cronulla. What a team. The Sharks finished 4th last year. They were a top 4 team. They made the prelim final, and then they just added one of the best props in the game in Aden Fanua-Blake. Aden Fanua-Blake, in my opinion, is the best prop in the game. But my goodness, you're adding him in to a already established top 4 team. Like, it's pretty insane. Obviously, Nico Hines, Trindle, they know the halves. The back line's the same as last year, although Katoa's out for about 3 months, I think. So they'll miss him for a while, but Samuel Stonestreet, he can do a job on that wing. He's a very good young player. Obviously, their bench is insane with Hazelton and Hamlin Ueli and etc. I think the Sharks have got a hell of a team. They've got some good depth as well. Atkinson can come in the halves if there's an injury. The Sharks have got a great, well-balanced team. I think they'll be finishing in the top 4. In 2nd, I hate doing this, but I'm going to be honest here. The Broncos, I don't like doing this, and I don't like putting these guys this high, but I have to take my bias aside. I think Brisbane are going to have a big year. I think they're going to bounce back in a very, very big way. We know how good they were in 2023. They probably should have won the comp. We know this. Their roster is very similar to what it was in 2023. You get rid of Kevy. You bring in a hardened, aggressive, experienced, premiership-winning, proven coach who won Origin last year, and Michael Maguire. Madge is an absolute genius. Giving Maguire a roster like the Broncos, who are already well established, they got a hell of a team, man. I think the only thing stopping Brisbane from being a legit premiership favourite, I think they lack strike back rowers. Like, they haven't got a top 5 or a top 10 second rower. That's probably the one area where they need to improve. But everything else is good. Everything else is good. Obviously, Reynolds is injury prone, and we know this, but I think Madge, having worked with Reynolds in the past, I think he will know how to manage that. Reece Walsh, we know how good of a player he is. Like him or hate him. They will get back Ezra Mann. They just recruited Ben Hunt as well. They got Haas, Carrigan. They got some great forwards there as well. Some really good role players in Corey Jensen and Kobe Hetherington. They got some really good forwards, likes of Ben Takora coming through. Xavier Willison, who I've got a big rap on. I think he's a really good prop as well. And Katoni, Cobbo. Like, they've got some Jesse Arthurs, Dean Mariner. They've got a great team, the Broncos. You can't deny it. But I think they're going to have a big year. Whether they're a contender or not, I guess we'll have to wait and see if they can beat the top teams. But I think they'll make the 8. I think they'll finish top 4, the Broncos. I think they're in for a big year. Now, the minor premiers, I'm going to go with the Melbourne Storm here. Pretty simple. They made the grand final last year. They come first last year. They arguably got better. They add Stefano, who's already played Origin for New South Wales. Stefano hasn't even hit his prime yet. You add Stefano there with Nelson, with Tui Kamikamifa, with Josh King, Trent Liero, Alex McDonald, all these guys. It's pretty frightening to see. Melbourne Storm, man. They've got a hell of a team. And if Munster goes down or if Pappenhausen goes down, in comes Tyrone Wishart. In comes Farlongo. You got the best halfback in the NRL season in Jerome Hughes. Harry Grant, best hooker in the game. Obviously, Hughes, Dally M, Munster. Munster can be the best 6 in the game when he's fully fit. Like, they got a hell of a team, man. Jack Howlett might play Origin. Like, they got so many good players, the Storm. So many good players. They're going to have a big season. They'll be very hard to beat. Top 4 team for sure. I think they'll be minor premiers. So, big year for the Melbourne Storm, and it'll be hard to beat. It'll be very hard to beat. So we'll go through it again quickly. Wooden Spoon, last, Newcastle Knights. 16th, we've got the Titans. 15th, West Tigers. 14th is the Warriors. So that is the bottom 4. 13th, we've got the Roosters. 12th, the Rabbitohs. 11th, the Dragons. 10th, the Raiders. 9th, Manly. And in the top 8, I'm going 8th, I'm going with the Dolphins. 7th, Parramatta Eels. 6th, the Bulldogs. 5th, the Cowboys. Top 4 is Penrith in 4th. The Sharks in 3rd. Broncos in 2nd. And the Storm as the minor premiers. Now, I know you are all thinking, what's my grand final going to be? What is my grand final going to be? Well, I am going with the grand final to be the Melbourne Storm versus the Cronulla Sharks. We're going to get a rematch of the 2016 grand final 9 years later in the year 2025. I reckon it'll be a Storm versus Sharks grand final. I think Penrith eventually get conquered by somebody. Maybe it's Melbourne that beats them in the big games. Maybe it's Cronulla. Who knows? But I think Penrith, you can't win 5 in a row, right? Well, it's surely not. But Melbourne, Cronulla, I think that's the grand final. And I think Melbourne win the comp, guys. I really do. I know it's boring. I know a lot of people don't want that. But I think Melbourne win the comp. So I'm going to go with that. But anyway, guys, that is my NRL 2025 predictions out of the way. Hope you guys enjoyed it. The NRL season starts on Sunday morning. It's what it'll be Friday night now, so we're about 48 hours away, probably a bit less than that actually. But yeah, it's going to be a big season, guys. Really looking forward to it. Let me know what you thought on my ladder predictions in the comments down below. Anyway, like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. See you guys in the next one.